Voices of the 21st Century, Wise Women Bringing Light to the World. And today we have 8 of the Australian authors here. Maybe we should do a wave for the American authors and Canadian authors, do you think? Yeah. American and Canadian authors will. And today being International Women's Day here in Sydney, and I always wear this pink shirt on International Women's Day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the authors of this fabulous book, Voices of the 21st Century. Karen's on her feet right now. Karen Anderson, you're going to talk about your chapter.
I am. Woohoo! Hi everyone! Thank you all of you, for coming and supporting us. And there are so many familiar faces in this room. And for me, I haven't necessarily seen these people since pre-COVID, so I'm so excited to be here. And I would especially like to thank my guests, and particularly a couple that have made extraordinary efforts to get here. So thank you so much for coming. I never understood how a book could change someone's life. That is, I never understood that until early last year. So Voices of the 21st Century is actually a series of books that's produced by the publishing arm of Women Speakers Association. And last year, I was lucky to be included in one of those books as a contributing author. And I decided to use my chapter as a vehicle for letting the world know that I was a very proud victim survivor of domestic violence. Because up until that moment, I had made the very conscious decision that I would never talk about it. But I decided to talk about it because, well, in the hope that I could actually help the broader community understand the enormous challenges people face when they find themselves in an abusive relationship. But then I started to think that talking wasn't enough. And what I really wanted to do was start a charity that could help people sustainably escape an abusive relationship before they were in serious trouble. Now, I'm not sure if you know, but it takes 7 attempts for a woman to successfully leave an abusive relationship. And by that stage, things are usually very bad. So I began a registered charity called Escape to Better Foundation. Our website is escapetobetter.org. Our services are delivered completely online and designed to help people living in abusive relationships at a time when they don't know what to do and they're not ready to talk about it. We are the only ones helping people in this early stage of experiencing abuse. And more importantly, I think, we are the only organisation that provides resources from the perspective of lived experience. And that makes our resources highly practical. But that was last year. So what about this book? Voices of the 21st Century, Wise Women Bringing Light into the World. And can I just tell you, I feel so uncomfortable thinking of myself as a wise woman, but there we go. When I was writing my chapter for last year's book, I realised that there was a gap between when the threat of violence occurred and the all-consuming numbness that followed. And it wasn't until I was preparing a series of video resources for the charity's website that I remembered why there was a gap. And that's the moment I talk about in the book that you have in your goodie bag. So my chapter appears on page 5 and the title is Where Shall I Die? Which is a bit dramatic for a chapter title, but it was actually the decision I needed to make in case things went horribly wrong. And to quote from my chapter, how could I possibly anticipate the outcome of something that was completely unimaginable when I woke up that morning? If I did nothing and simply went along with our original holiday plans, I might be sentencing my parents to a life of pain and anguish, or nothing could happen. If I changed my plans and stayed at home, I could be inciting a life-threatening rage that could be avoided if I just remained compliant. Now, I share this moment in my life for two reasons. The first is so the general community can start to understand the delicate balance every victim of domestic and family abuse experiences, because it is all-consuming, high-risk decision-making that doesn't leave room for very much else. The second reason I decided to share this moment was to demonstrate that for all of us, there will be some situations in our lives where there are no obvious good choices. And so the other lesson I hope readers take away is the knowledge that sometimes there are no good decisions, just the decisions we can live with. So going back to my original claim that books change lives, starting Escape to Better Foundation has changed my life, but the charity is less than a year old, and already it's changing the lives of people living in abusive relationships. Our website receives visitors from far north Queensland, right down the east coast of Australia to Melbourne, across to Adelaide and throughout South Australia. We have local councils, community groups and other organisations using our resources to support their residents, clients, staff and local communities. And all of this from a book. Now, obviously, I encourage you to support your authors here today, but I also encourage you to visit escapetobetter.org to purchase last year's book, because all proceeds go to support our work. So the website address appears at the bottom of the bio, which is at the end of my chapter. And of course, I would love to talk to you about ways that we may be able to partner together to help victims of domestic violence escape an abusive relationship before they are in crisis. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you continue to enjoy this afternoon, because it's pretty awesome, isn't it?